Alright, today I have another project for the Fusion. So I actually have had this for a while and I just haven't had a chance to actually do it. I've also been kind of afraid to start this project because of what you have to do and a known issue with these Fusions and how this is actually installed. So what this is a lighted door sill. So inside here I have both front door sills that say Fusion, as you can see right there. So they say Fusion on them, and this will replace the door sill that's already here on the car. On the car it has just this plastic door sill, and this will completely replace that and give me a light up door sill that just kind of looks a little bit more premium. It's stainless steel, that's why it's got this little protection on it, and hopefully we can get this installed. I have already started to try and play with it, and I'm frustrated because the part that does break, which is the overhead console, poor design, impossible to get it down without breaking it, so don't do that. So there is a forum post that I'm going to try and follow that, where we pick up the power wires from inside this A-pillar versus the overhead console. I'll show you what part broke here real quick. Alright, so the part that broke is actually not super noticeable, but what happens is you're supposed to pull this whole piece straight down, and even in the instructions from Ford, that's what it says to do, is just grab this and make sure you pull it straight down. Well, what happens is there's little tabs, and you can't release the tabs, you're just supposed to pull it. Well, this is now loose, versus this side, it's a lot tighter. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do here. You can kind of see the clips up inside here, but it's pointless. Don't fight this. What we're gonna do is pull off this A-pillar. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So the nice thing about this kit is it does come with an official Ford and Lincoln instruction guide of how to install this. So like I said, they want you to remove the sill, take off these panels, driver's side and passenger side, as you can see. They also say to go ahead and disconnect the battery, but I'm not going to do that because I need to test the wires and make sure I get the right polarity. So again, here's where it's showing to open up the overhead console, pulling it straight down and removing it, which again, this is not possible. This little clip right here is what broke for me. Maybe if I was pulling, it looks like there's a big clip right in the center, maybe that would make it a little bit different, but I'm going to recommend no one do that, and that's kind of been the consensus from everyone on the forums as well that buys these, is you do not want to mess with that overhead console. So the rest of this is kind of going to be irrelevant because we're not going to catch the wires up there in the overhead console, so we are just going to go ahead and try and figure this out. First step is to remove this. So we'll go ahead and you just get your fingers underneath it, pop it up like that. And so this is completely useless at this point. We're not going to be reinstalling it. So then from there, what we're going to do is we're actually going to come up a little bit higher, and we need to pop this off. Let me adjust the camera. So we need to pop this off here. So what I do is I stick my finger behind it, pop it there, and just slowly pull it out. This obviously is going to be reused. Everything else from this point forward is reused. So then we need to take this piece off. Again, you just kind of get your fingers underneath it, and you can knock those clips loose. Last piece we need to take off here is this. We probably don't have to take it off because we can just lay the wire underneath, but for the video I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. And these pull straight out after you release this one. Lift it up and then it'll come out. Alright, so now I need to go ahead and take this down. The way we're going to do that is we're going to stick our fingers kind of under the weather stripping on this side so we can kind of get behind it, and we're going to pull out this way towards the center of the car a little bit. And there we go. We got that out, and it looks like there's 3 clips that are holding this in. And we're not going to completely remove this if we don't have to, but we'll see. I haven't taken it much farther than this, so all we need to do is kind of rock this up and it will be out of our way. Alright, so I've taken my knife and I've kind of removed one layer. It looks like there is another layer of sheathing that we have to cut through. And now we have a ton of wires that we can see. Alright, so in this entire bundle of wires, the wire that we're looking for is, it's a gray with a purple stripe, which you can kind of see down here at the bottom. That purple stripe, it's not super apparent. Try and get this to focus. But yeah, it is a gray with a purple stripe, and that's going to be our positive. It's got 12 volts power to it. You can kind of see there, I removed a little bit of the sheathing on it so that I can test, and I verified already that this is the wire that we want. It gets 12 volts power, and that's what we want. So we'll take this for our positive, and we'll probably tap into this bolt or something for our ground since it's kind of close here. Let's go ahead and do it. Alright, if you've never used one of these sets of wire strippers, I highly recommend you get these as well. All I've done is I've set this on here and squeezed it, and I have exposed wire. I'm going to also do that with this piece here. Can expose a little bit of wire, twist it up. Going to wrap it around here, just like that. So I do have the power off to the car, or battery disconnected, just to prevent any issues. But now I've got that making contact, we will set the shirt underneath here, just so I'm going to solder this. I don't want to get solder on my dashboard. Alright, so that should be all we need there. And now I'm going to wrap it up just with some electrical tape. Okay, so now that that's all bundled back together, I should be able to tuck everything here away, and then we can make our splice into this wire down below on the side. So let me put everything back together. Okay, so looking at the kit, it looks like with the wiring here, we're given a positive and negative, which is great. That was expected. As I was unwinding this, it looks like the manufacturer has already spliced these together for us. What you're going to want to do is find the two short pieces, so the side that has the wires, and then you'll have one LED that is the exact same length coming from that splice. That's going to be on our driver's side. The other side is very long. We have tons and tons of wire. So this one we are going to have to route underneath the dashboard and over to the passenger side. Before I do that, I am going to go ahead and finish this driver's side before routing that wire. So to do that, all we need to do is get our power right here. We've got our wire here as well. We're going to cut the end off of that, twist this up. Now I'm not going to solder this just because there's not really any reason to. I'm not going to gain or lose anything by not soldering it. So I'm just choosing not to for the ease of this. And I'll strip a little bit more here. Twist it up. And the way I like to do these wires is I like to cross them like an X. And you'll pinch one side while you wrap the other. Twist that nice and tight. Now same thing, but you're going to wrap the opposite direction on the other side. Hopefully you can see this, but that will be a very tight joint. Now, the last step on that is to go ahead and tape it up. Actually, I am going to go ahead and solder this. It won't take me any time to do that. So, the only other thing we need to do is find a ground, which what I'm going to do is there's a bolt right here, and I'm going to loosen that bolt, and I will just I'll solder the end of this as well. I'm going to make a loop out of it, and we will tie it right there. So my soldering iron's warming up. I will go ahead and do this, and I'll show you when I'm finished. Alright, so I've gone ahead and soldered this. We're going to go ahead and tape it up. Now if you have heat shrink, that's probably going to be the better option. This tape will work just fine. I just don't happen to have any heat shrink at the moment. So that's taped up. Now I've also gone ahead and already loosened this bolt, which you can't quite see at the moment. So this bolt here, and what I'm going to do is just loosen it a bit more. And I need to get the washer out far enough. And I'll just slide my ground over the top of that, which is fighting me. Okay, so just like that, and then we will thread this on. Alright, so now that I have my wire and my connections made, it's a good time to go ahead and test and make sure that the lights come on. And you do want to check both. I have the other one hanging up here, so I'm going to verify whether or not they work. Fantastic. So it does look like they are both working. I'll go ahead and show you the other one. It's up here, and it is also on. So both of the LEDs are working, and we can proceed with the installation. This kit also comes with a bunch of these zip ties, so I do recommend go ahead and use these anywhere you can, just to kind of help yourself prevent too much clutter, maybe support your wires. Right now I'm just going to kind of use this to take some slack out of all these wires here. So I'm going to use 2 of them because I have plenty. We will probably use a couple of these as we run the wires across to the passenger side as well. Now all we have to do is install everything in the reverse order. So I'm going to put this cover plate on up here first, or sorry, last. First piece is this one here that goes and covers up all of the wiring. So you need to make sure your wires are out of the way enough to pop this guy on. Just like that. And run your finger down, get the weather stripping out of the way. So that piece is on. Next piece we're going to do is above that here. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is take my wire, let me point this up a little bit. I'm going to take the wire for the passenger side and I'm going to shove it inside here through this opening. And that'll allow me to catch it on the bottom side, and we're gonna pull this down, get a little bit better access. So I'm just gonna pull all my slack through so it's out of the way. Just like that. So now I can put my side pieces on. Put this one first, set it up here, and snap it on. Again, you're gonna wanna run your finger on the weather stripping to let it all lay on top of that. The last piece here is the cover, which again just snaps into place. So now, the very, very last piece is our actual door sill. So what I've done down here is I've run the wire along the channel here and I've wrapped it back so I have a little bit of slack, because if you see how this wants to line up, it will just be enough to reach to our connection. So to pop this in just like that, and we're basically done. All we have to do is snap this into place, pull the weather stripping out of the way, and there we go. So, moment of truth, pull this off, let me give it some power and we'll see if it lights up. Okay, so it is lighting up. It's just too bright right now. I'll have to get a clip of this at night to show you the final product. All right, I got them completely installed. Now I didn't film the part of running the wire from this driver's side over to the passenger side, mainly because there's no way for me to fit this camera up underneath the dashboard and to really show you what I was doing. It just would have been awful footage. It is pretty straightforward. All I did was kind of follow the bottom edge of the dash, and then I went straight across through the bottom and over to the passenger side door sill, where it then came down exactly like I did on the driver's side, following it, looping around that white plastic pin and coming back, and that's all I did. It's pretty straightforward. So anyways, it is done. I can't really show you the light on it. They're not as bright as I thought they would be. You don't see them during the day, but you don't really need to see them during the day. They look fantastic. The stainless steel looks really good. And if I get really close, I can see the actual light coming through it. So let's go ahead. I'll show you that, and then I will show you guys a shot at night so you can see what these look like. Now, overall, this probably took me maybe an hour and a half to do. Not too bad, but do expect, if you're not familiar with your car, that this will probably take you a little bit longer, just because you're going to run into little things. You might break clips like I did. And again, do not attack the overhead console. Not worth it. This was much easier, albeit a little bit of a pain. I'm much happier with it. So let me get you those shots. If you like these videos, again, please drop me a comment, give me a thumbs up, subscribe maybe. You know, I've told you many times I enjoy making these videos, even though I get kind of awkward. I kind of stumble on my words because none of this is scripted. This is just me kind of going for it and just trying to do it. So let's see what these look like. See you guys next time.